Good morning and welcome to our Boorowa Central School. My name is Christine Hawkins and I'm the Deputy Principal. I'd just like to take the opportunity to do some housekeeping, if I may, prior to the commencement of our formal proceedings. In accordance with New South Wales Health and Department of Education COVID-safe guidelines, I'd like to remind all guests to use the QR code provided if you have not already done so. There is one available at the desk there at the marquee, if you need to move now to do that. I'd also like to remind everybody that we need to observe social distancing at all times. Please use the hand sanitizer provided and wear a mask if you happen to be indoors. I'd like to give everybody the opportunity now to turn their phones to silent or off so that our ceremony can proceed uninterrupted. In the event of an emergency, and if we are required to evacuate the site, our emergency evacuation point is the Boorowa Ex-Services Club Auditorium, which is down one block. If this response is required, please follow the instructions provided by the school staff and follow the children who will exit the school via the Bryall Street exit, which would be past the helicopter. For our guests, we have bathrooms in the administration office, which is 2 buildings behind me, or in the hall behind me. Students, if you wish to use the bathrooms, can you please indicate to your teacher, and we'll use the primary toilet block. In a moment, I'll let you know when we'll get started. Would you like to take a seat? Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of Boorowa Central School, would you please stand for the arrival of our official party?
Please remain standing for the National Anthem. All uniformed personnel are to salute to the front.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let
Thank you. Please be seated. And I invite all uniformed personnel to remove their headdress. Welcome to Boorowa Central School on this very special day as we formally acknowledge the appointment of Commissioner Karen Webb as the 23rd Commissioner of the New South Wales Police Force. I am Graham Jones, the principal of this school, and it is my honour to guide this very important and special ceremony this morning. I would like firstly to invite Auntie Donna to offer a welcome to country.
Wirinjaka, which means welcome. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land that we call Australia. I pay my respects to elders past and present and acknowledge the Ngunnawal and Wiradjuri and Torres Strait Islander people. I encourage you all here today, young and old, to try to have a better understanding of the Aboriginal people, their customs, their heritage, and their culture. Thank you very much. But lastly, I would like to mention two young girls that I worked with when they were still at school here, Brooke and Hayley. Rick and Kim should be very proud of them, because I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Donna, Lily and Molly. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and importantly of all, our wonderful students here today. It is an absolute honour to introduce and welcome our very special guest here this morning for what is an incredibly special occasion for our school and our community. Her Excellency, the Honourable Margaret Beasley, Governor of New South Wales, and Mr Dennis Wilson. The Honourable Dominic Perrottet, Premier of New South Wales. The Honourable Paul Toole, Deputy Premier of New South Wales, Minister for Regional New South Wales and Minister for Police, Commissioner-designate Karen Webb and Mr Mark Webb. Our parliamentary representatives, the Honourable Wendy Tuckerman, Minister for Local Government, the Honourable Stephanie Cook, Minister for Emergency Services, the New South Wales Police Force Executive, Deputy Commissioner Mal Lanyon, Metropolitan Field Operations, Deputy Commissioner David Hudson, Investigations and Counter-Terrorism, Acting Deputy Commissioner Joe Cassar, Regional New South Wales Field Operations, Acting Deputy Commissioner Paul Pisanos, Corporate Services, our Emergency Services Commissioners, Commissioner Paul Baxter, Fire and Rescue New South Wales, Commissioner Rob Rogers, New South Wales Rural and Fire Service, Commissioner Carleen York, New South Wales State and Emergency Services, Commissioner Mark Gibson, New South Wales Volunteer Rescue Association, Commissioner Stacey Tarnos, Marine Rescue New South Wales, Acting Assistant Commissioner Brian White, New South Wales Ambulance, and our Education, School and Community representatives, Miss Meg Cuvée, Director of Educational Leadership, Mrs Margaret Rolls, Mayor of Hilltop Shire Council, and Mrs Rebecca Driscoll, President of the Boorowa Central School, Parents and Citizens Association. To all our distinguished guests, the family and friends of Commissioner Webb, our teachers, students, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Firstly, I would like to express my gratitude to Commissioner-designate Karen Webb for requesting her inauguration ceremony to be held at our school, Boorowa Central School, the school she attended from kindergarten to year 12 and graduated in 1984. By choosing to be here today, she's opening the eyes of every child to the possibilities that exist to the students of our school beyond their schooling years. This event, which will be remembered by the students for many, many years to come, could well be the catalyst to inspire some to follow her footsteps or to aspire to dreams that are already beyond the limits of their current imagination. The opportunities are endless for those who dedicate themselves to their passion, as modelled by Commissioner Webb, and we sincerely thank her for including us today. It is now my pleasure to invite Her Excellency, the Honourable Margaret Beazley, Governor of New South Wales, to address the ceremony.
Auntie Donna, thank you for that beautiful acknowledgement in which I join. And can I say in the language of the Gadigal, which is from the land where Government House stands, Butcheri Gamarua. Hello to each and every one of you. Principal Mr Jones, Premier, Deputy Premier, Ministers, Commissioner, special guest, which is absolutely everybody who is here, the wonderful students, and the person who is about to become the best known person in New South Wales in a few moments, the about to be Commissioner Karen Webb. I cannot tell you what an honour it is to be here at Boorowa Central School. I haven't been here ever before, but you always get a sense of a place when you walk into it, and this is a beautiful school. And all the signs and welcoming signs that you have around, the signs of responsibility, thank you for that. It's obviously telling you something about your own school community and how you live within your school community. As Mr Jones has said, this is an extraordinarily special occasion in the history of the school, the commissioning of the new Police Commissioner, Karen Webb, and she came to this school from kindergarten right through to the end of her schooling. And to be able to join in and to celebrate her appointment, it's as though the whole of the New South Wales Police Force and all the emergency services has come to town. We have all the uniformed officers over here and further to my right. We have Polair, the Polair helicopter. Has there ever been another occasion when you've had a helicopter land here? No, I've never landed at my school, I can assure you. We have the police band. They never came to my school either. The police dog unit and the mounted police on those beautiful horses. Now, Boorowa is a relatively small country town. But small towns in New South Wales have a knack of producing people who go on to play very important roles in our community. So Tim Fisher was born in Lockhart, which is down in the Riverina. Now, Lockhart currently has a population of about 800 people. Tim Fisher was the leader of the National Party, and he became Deputy Prime Minister of Australia and also an ambassador. Justice Stephen Gaigler was born in a little town called Sandy Hollow, which is up in the Hunter. That little town has a population of about 170 people. He is a High Court judge. Then there is the new Commissioner of Police, Karen Webb, who comes from this town, from Boorowa. In some ways, it's a large town by comparison with the population of those that I've just mentioned, a population of about 1,650 people. That Commissioner Karen Webb has chosen to receive her commission here as the highest ranking police officer in the state speaks volumes of the respect she has for this school, its students and its teachers past and present, and for the town of Boorowa. And I can only imagine how proud you are all today. And so it seemed to me that it was a good day to ask, what is it about our small towns that produce such wonderful people? And I think the answer has to be summed up in the word community. A community where people know each other, a community where people help each other, where everyone in the town plays their part. And when you think about the school community, it's the place where you find your friends, it's the place where you learn, where you discover your talents, and from what I've already heard, this is a school of very talented young people. It's where you learn the values of empathy, it's where you learn to become leaders and where you take on leadership roles and you take on responsibility, where you learn the importance of making a contribution and of looking after others. And they are values that will stay with you whatever you do. And you have many role models already. Your parents, your teachers, and today, this school in particular, your very own role model. The new Police Commissioner today is the person that you can be in the future. She is the you of the future. You may not become a police officer, but you're certainly going to do something really quite special, really going to do something that's going to use your talents and your and your learning. And what she has done has shown all the students here that your dreams and your aspirations can be achieved, as Mr. Jones has already said, through determination, courage and commitment, or in the words of your school motto, by excellence, through respect, responsibility and participation. In 2015, the New South Wales Police Force marked 100 years of women in policing in New South Wales, a celebration that was in fact led by Commissioner Webb. So that marked that 100 years since the first woman in the police force was sworn in, the first two women actually, Lillian Armfield and Maud Rhodes. Lillian, in particular, set a trailblazing course for women in the New South Wales Police Force. And can I say a special thank you to Commissioner Webb, who 106 years later has made history. She has made the dent in that long line of women not having become the top leaders. And can I say we need to shorten the distance between this happening in the timelines as everybody rises up. Girls, boys, using all of your talents and using those talents in a way that they will be recognised and in a way in which they will make such an extraordinary contribution to the community. When I talk about contribution to the community, can I say I think about it in big ways and little ways. Karen Webb undoubtedly started making a contribution in small ways in this school. She is now to make a contribution to our state and indeed to the whole of Australia in probably one of the most difficult jobs that you can have. It really does take an extraordinary police officer to become a police commissioner. This is what Commissioner Webb has demonstrated. Leadership, dedication, determination to succeed. And this has been over a career of some 35 years. It commenced at Castle Hill Police Station in 1987. At that time, there were only 10% of women in the police force. And I know, coming out of a background of law, when there were not very many women, it can be very lonely to be there on your own with very few women around you. Karen has worked across all areas of policing, including some of the toughest areas possible. Most recently, she was the first female traffic and highway patrol commander and Deputy State Emergency Operations Controller. She was Deputy State Emergency Operations Controller during the bushfires of 2019 and 2020. And Karen, can I just say what I think you probably already know? The importance of being first, the importance of being the first female police commissioner means that there will be other female police commissioners. If you don't break that at some stage, it's not going to happen. So can I say on behalf personally, because you're going to be policing me as I drive along the streets, can I say thank you on behalf of everyone in this state for demonstrating that being first, you have made it possible for everybody else to achieve. But it was back at this school that it all started. It was the education that Commissioner Webb received here at the Borowa Central School. It was what she received within her family backgrounds. It's what she learned being part of a rural community. And all of that is going to stand her in very good stead for the most senior role in the police force. When he announced his retirement, Commissioner Mick Fuller said that the job of police commissioner requires enormous energy. In bringing every ounce of that energy in leading the New South Wales Police Force, you'll be well supported by your colleagues, by this community in Borowa, by this memory of Borowa, and by the entire community. And so, just one more message, a very important message to the school and the community of Borowa, and that is to say thank you. Thank you to all of you, to to the school community and to the community at large. Thank you for being a representative of all that is really fantastic about New South Wales. Everything that's really excellent about the education in New South Wales, the schools of New South Wales, and most importantly, you, the students, the school students in a New South Wales school, and what a particularly fine school you have. Boorowa Central School, undoubtedly one of the best you could possibly have in regional communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Could I please invite forward the Official Secretary, Colonel Michael Miller, to pronounce the instrument of appointment. Sir?
Should it please Your Excellency, an instrument of appointment. Greetings to Karen Leanne Webb. I, the Honourable Margaret Joan Beazley, Companion of the Order of Australia, Queen's Counsel, Governor of the State of New South Wales and the Commonwealth of Australia, acting on the recommendation of the Honourable David Elliott, Minister for Police and Emergency Services, and with the advice of the Executive Council on the 15th of December 2021, approve the appointment of the aforementioned Karen Leanne Webb to the position of Commissioner of the New South Wales Police Force from the 1st of February 2022, pursuant to Section 24 of the Police Act 1990. Signed, Margaret Beazley, Governor of New South Wales.
Congratulations, and I wish you well. Thank you.
Commissioner Webb, on behalf of everyone within our school community, congratulations. May I please invite you to address our gathering.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Karen Webb, and I too acknowledge that we are meeting today on the traditional lands of the Ngunnawal people of the Wiradjuri Nation, and pay my respects to elders past, present and future. I would also like to extend a very warm welcome to our special guests who have already been mentioned, but in particular Her Excellency the Honourable Margaret Beazley, AC, QC, and Mr Dennis Wilson. The Honourable Dominique Perrottet, MP, Premier of New South Wales. The Honourable Paul Toole, MP, Deputy Premier, Minister for Regional New South Wales and Minister for Police. The Honourable Wendy Tuckerman, MP, Minister for Local Government and Member for Goulburn. The Honourable Stephanie Cook, MP, Minister for Emergency Service and Resilience. The Honourable Katrina Hodgkinson, former Member for Cootamundra and former Minister for Primary Industries. Hilltop's Mayor Margaret Rolls, and my Deputy Commissioners who have been mentioned, Deputy Commissioners Hudson, Lanyon, Cassar and Pizzanos, and welcome the Commissioners from the other emergency services previously mentioned, Commissioners York, Baxter, Deputy Commissioner Stewart, Gibson, Tanos, Fitzsimmons, and Assistant Commissioner Brian White from New South Wales Ambulance, and Meg Cuvade from New South Wales Education. The students of Boorowa Central School and their principal, Mr Graham Jones. Members of the Boorowa local community, friends and family who have all played a very special part in this journey. And last but not least, my sons Lockie and Tom, and my partner Mark. As a student, I'm not confident my contributions to show and tell were all that impressive. However, I hope that the New South Wales capability display here today may offer some form of redemption. If you've not already had the opportunity to meet our team, we have officers here from the Aviation Command, police horses from the Mounted Command, our special police dog Casper, and members of our exceptional police band. We are here today in Boorowa. Boorowa holds a very special place in my heart, as it is my hometown, where my family made their home and where we developed our values. I'm exceptionally proud to call Boorowa my true home, as my family and generations before them all cherish the same sense of belonging to this area. Boorowa Central School was my school and my playground for 13 years. And I'm incredibly proud to see some of my former teachers here today, and I can assure you, without your support and encouragement, I would not be here today in this role. Hopefully there are students here today, and perhaps children yet to start their schooling, that will one day join the New South Wales Police Force. And perhaps we will be fortunate to also have another commissioner who began their journey in Boorowa. My family and I love Boorowa and the way of life it offers. My parents, Jenny and Frank Keefe, were proud to call Boorowa home and raise their family in a community with a powerful sense of connection and belonging. My father always wanted to make our home and Boorowa a better place. Often service became before self. He had a vision for Boorowa to make it beautiful for locals and visitors. His inspiration and creation are apparent all around the town, but none more so than in the Boorowa Park. If you have not had the opportunity, please take a moment to visit and experience the beauty created by my late father and his team 40 years ago. Now the story about why I joined the New South Wales Police Force. It was Australia Day 1982, and as you would expect, a hot day and not much happening in this town. As you did in country towns those days, you had to go to the local police station to get your driver's licence. On that day, it was Senior Constable John Stone. John was everything you believe a good country cop to be. Respectful, firm but fair, and importantly, he lived by and promoted the values of the New South Wales Police Force. John was, in my opinion, a true community leader. I was so impressed by John that day, coupled with a recruitment pamphlet on the counter, that at that moment I decided I wanted to join the New South Wales Police Force. I am so pleased that John is here with us today, and I can see him over the back. Could I ask everyone to acknowledge John's service to the Boorowa community and the New South Wales Police Force? Thank you, John. Thank you, John, for that very small but important play you played in my life. I'm immensely proud to be appointed the 23rd New South Wales Police Commissioner, and the first female to hold the position in almost 160 years. It is a privilege to hold this position, and I stand here today to confirm my commitment to lead by example and uphold the values that underpin the New South Wales Police Force. Any world-class organisation is regarded by the standards they develop, adopt and promote. The New South Wales Police Force is, without question, regarded as the benchmark when it comes to policing and community engagement. As the Commissioner and with the wider New South Wales Police Force, we will continue to deliver the best services and standards that underpin the safety of our community. My focus has always been on driving a professional and positive culture across our teams and individuals in order to engage our community with dignity and respect. During my career in the New South Wales Police Force, I have had the privilege to work in many areas, including general duties, criminal investigation, forensics, operations, specialist operations leading marine, aviation, mounted and dogs, high patrol and corporate services. During my 34 years, I have worked alongside some amazing, dedicated, passionate and committed individuals and teams. There is one core attribute that resonates. Everyone who joins the New South Wales Police Force does so because they are committed to serve, and each of them genuinely wants to make a difference, each and every day, for the safety of our community. As I reflect on my career so far, I have been fortunate to have the support of many over the years who have kept me grounded. I'm appreciative of the inspirational role models who have guided my journey, from the teachers and staff at Boorowa Central School to my family, friends and colleagues, many of whom are here today. I say to each of you, you made a difference in my life and career in some way. So where to from here? We know from past experience the New South Wales Police Force readily adapts to the changing needs of society. The challenges for law enforcement in the 80s was an increase in armed robberies plus an unnecessarily high road death toll, which led to the introduction of random breath testing and the immediate improvement in driver behaviour. In the early 2000s, property crime in particular was increasing, parallel to the high costs of living, when mortgage rates were around 16%. In response, DNA legislation was introduced to more readily identify offenders, and crime rates quickly started to fall. The emerging challenges for policing in 2022 are technology-enabled crime, or cybercrime. This will require the New South Wales Police Force to continue to adapt, to be able to capture and analyse the enormous amounts of metadata by ingesting volumes of CCTV and digital records from all forms to quickly identify offenders. What hasn't changed over the decades is the motive for crime, generally personal or for profit. It's the way that crime is committed that evolves. At the centre of all crime are people, victims, witnesses, criminals and the community. The New South Wales Police Force is about people. Our workforce of 22,000 officers and staff are our strength and make us world class. Police officers are drawn from our communities and respond to the needs of the community. Former Commissioner Abbott in 1983 said, "Police are merely citizens in uniform. They are nominated community leaders in a law enforcement effort that must involve each and every citizen." To remain connected to our communities, we must continue to adapt, to learn and develop, because it's always about the learning and not just at school. So finally, I just wanted to say thank you for joining me today. It means the world to me to share this moment with you all in this very special way. And a thank you to everyone who's made today possible. I appreciate it greatly. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. May I please invite the Honourable Paul Toole, Deputy Premier of New South Wales, Minister for Regional New South Wales and Minister for Police, to make a remark.
Well, thank you, Mr Jones, and firstly can I just begin by thanking Auntie Donna for her very warm welcome to country, and can I also pay my respect to both elders past, present and emerging. Could I also just acknowledge our dignitaries, and I know there are many of them and I'll go through them fairly quickly because we have heard them already, but I think it's important on an occasion like this that they are acknowledged, because today is such a special day for our Commissioner Designate that the opportunity that they've all taken to be here today really shows the significance of this event. Her Excellency the Honourable Margaret Beazley and Mr Dennis Wilson, the Premier the Honourable Dominic Perrottet, my parliamentary colleagues the Minister for Emergency Services and Resilience the Honourable Steph Cook, and Minister for Local Government the Honourable Wendy Tuckerman, and the former member the Honourable Katrina Hodgkinson, Commissioner Designate Karen Webb and her partner Mark Webb, and the many proud members of her family that are here today, Deputy Commissioners Mal Lanyon and David Hudson, and all other members of the force, representatives of our emergency services, Commissioner Paul Baxter, Fire and Rescue New South Wales, Commissioner Rob Rogers, RFS, Commissioner Carleen York, the SES, Commissioner Mark Gibson, New South Wales Volunteer Rescue Association, Commissioner Stacey Tanos, Marine Rescue New South Wales, Acting Assistant Commissioner Brian White, New South Wales Ambulance, and most importantly to the teachers, the staff, the community, and most importantly the students of Boorowa Central School. Today is an historic day. Today is actually the first time that a police commissioner has been sworn into the role outside of Sydney in more than 170 years. And I think it speaks volumes about the woman that we are here to recognise today, that she would actually pick her hometown and the school that shaped her as the location for this milestone event. When a young Karen Keefe first walked through the gates of this school as a 5-year-old, few would have guessed the phenomenal trail that she has now blazed. But kids who grow up in the bush, they have a habit of defying expectations. From an early age, it is drilled into us that hard work and persistence will get you everywhere, that you own your mistakes as you would your successes and never stop trying to do better, that the limits to what can be achieved, like the horizon of our big open skies, are endless. These are the traits that make great leaders, and a great police force needs a great leader like Commissioner Karen Webb. And Commissioner, last night I had the opportunity to catch up with a number of your family and friends, and I heard firsthand some of the stories of here in the local area, but also as part of the Commissioner's story already. But also want to point out that she's already inspired many young people, and two people that I notice, Brooke and Hayley, her two nieces, both from Burwa, are also now following in your footsteps and have joined the force. And these are just two of the countless stories that we've heard of people that you have inspired, and I'm sure there will be many more to come in the role that you now have today. As someone who comes from Bathurst and just taking on the role of Police Minister, I couldn't be happier to be starting the journey with someone from Burwa at the helm. Someone who I know shares my values and belief in the importance of connection to community and in putting people first. To the Commissioner, I say Burwa Central School's motto strikes me as very fitting one for your journey that's ahead of you, leading the people who serve and protect us every day. Each for all for each. Every one of the 22,000 men and women that make up the New South Wales Police Force are key to the collective strength of our force. And the strength of the force behind them makes every individual stronger for it. With you, Commissioner, at the helm, I know the sentiment will continue to ring true. I know the people of Burwa couldn't be prouder of you in what you have already achieved, and I know there are many more proud days ahead of them. Congratulations, Commissioner. I wish you all the best, and I look forward to seeing you bring your vision to the New South Wales Police Force. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Premier. May I please invite the Honourable Dominic Perrottet, Premier of New South Wales, to make a remark.
Can I start by thanking Aunty Donna for that wonderful welcome to country, and can I also pay my respects as well? Can I thank and acknowledge, as my other colleagues have done, I know you've heard this numerous times today, but I'll be quick, Your Excellency, Margaret Beasley, Governor of New South Wales, Deputy Premier Paul Toole, and my other ministerial colleagues who are here today. What a very important day. Just for the Commission, but a very important day across the board, across our state today. First day of school for many children who are here today. We've been doing a lot of work here in New South Wales, encouraging parents to have the confidence to bring their children back to school day one, term one. And we've been speaking to principals, we've been speaking to teachers to work very closely with our parents to instil that confidence. But Mr Jones, can I say you have taken this to a whole new level today by inviting us all here, the choppers, the police band, the horses, everyone, the Police Commissioner, the Deputy Premier and the Governor. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you have in store for day two as the next group of students come back. There's not a lot for me to add today in terms of what has been said. But I wanted to be here on behalf of every single person across our great state to thank our new Police Commissioner. On behalf of everybody for taking on this incredibly important job. Police officers don't often get many thank yous. They get a lot of respect. They also get a lot of hostility. Sometimes at the footy and cricket, they even get booed. But it's one of those jobs. It's one of those jobs that day in, day out, their hard work goes largely unnoticed. And I can tell you as Premier of this state, over the last 2 years, which has been an incredibly difficult time for many people, our police officers have done an absolutely amazing job. And that work, as I've said, often goes unnoticed. It is not seen by the public each and every day. The work behind the scenes, the tireless work. And it's what doesn't happen that is a sign of the success of our police officers, and the men and women who serve in our New South Wales Police Force should be incredibly proud of the work that they do day in, day out in keeping the 8 million people of our great state safer, more free and more secure. So to Karen, can I thank her for stepping up to take on this incredibly important role. And as has been said, the fact that Commissioner Webb has chosen to have her swearing in here at Burrawa Central School, just to me demonstrates exactly why she's the right person for this job. And to be frank, I'll take Burrawa over Government House any day of the week. Sorry, Your Excellency. But the reason it's a testament to having this ceremony here in Burrawa is because policing is most effective when it's partnering in the community. Law and order is one of the most difficult things to manage, and every police officer knows this, and every politician knows this as well. But what everyone across our state can agree on is that the best community safety outcomes are achieved when our police force works hand in hand with our local communities. That's how you build trust. That's how you build cooperation. It's how you work to a common goal and make progress as a community. So I want to thank every single police officer who's here today and every single police officer across our state for that strong sense of connection to every community they serve. And the best way to have that partnership, the best way to have that servant leadership is to start from the top. You need the leader at the top that drives that culture, that drives that response. A leader who leads from the front and provides example. And I can't think of a better example than to be back here in the community today where Police Commissioner Webb's trajectory began. So make the point about Burrawa. Today is a very proud day for the town of Burrawa. They sometimes say that it takes a town or a village to raise a child, to instill the values and the virtues in people so they can go on and live successful lives and give of themselves in helping the community. Commissioner Webb's appointment is a tribute and a testament to the town of Burrawa, and every single person here should be so incredibly proud because Karen's values that have taken her to the top job in the New South Wales Police Force stem from the values of the town of Burrawa. So on behalf of our state, can I thank you, the town of Burrawa, for giving us Karen. Thank you. Because without you, we wouldn't have Karen, and now the people of New South Wales have a leader who I believe will be one of the most successful police commissioners in the history of our great state. So just in conclusion, because I said that last year, so many excursions were cancelled. As has been said, today we've brought the excursion to you. I want to thank every single person in the town for having us here. I want to thank Mr. Jones. I want to thank the teachers, particularly on day one of school. I want to thank all the students for coming back to school and for being excited and for welcoming us here, particularly the leaders who met us out the front. I do want to thank the teachers and Mr. Graham for all the work they've done. I know it's been a difficult 2 years in teaching during the pandemic. Thanking the police officers today, but I also want to thank you. There's nothing more important in my view than teaching our children. We know that disrupted school has had an impact in relation to educational outcomes and social outcomes. I know that it won't be necessarily smooth sailing over the course of this year, but I just want to say on behalf of the people of our state and on behalf of all our children, thank you for everything that you do in teaching our children. I want to thank the New South Wales police personnel who've worked incredibly hard to make this possible. I want to thank the Governor for her wonderful words and for coming to Boorowa rather than Government House. And ladies and gentlemen, can I just finish by what I said, which is my most important point today. I thank you to the town, I thank you to the people, and thank you for giving us Karen. She will make an exceptional police commissioner. I can assure you the reason she was appointed was because not just her experience, but because of her honesty, her integrity, and they are values you want to see in any leader, and importantly, in the New South Wales Police Force. She will do an amazing job in keeping every community from Boorowa to Balmain safe right across our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier. To offer our schools congratulations, can I please invite our secondary school captains, Abby Grant and Hannah Southwell, to the microphone.
On behalf of the students and staff of Boorowa Central School, I would like to take this opportunity to say congratulations to Commissioner Karen Webb on such a momentous achievement. Seeing a previous Boorowa Central School student climb to such a significant position reinforces the standard of hard work taught at this school. Although we are such a small school, today delivers a message to all of our students that opportunity and success are within reach, and we are not limited by our size or our location. We would also like to express how grateful we are to be a part of such an achievement. As the first female commissioner, you are opening a door of possibilities for all women across this country to continue to work hard to excel in whatever career they choose and to break through the glass ceiling that still exists, especially those in male prominent careers. Once again, we welcome you back to Boorowa Central School and congratulate you on this achievement.
Thank you, Abby and Hannah. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this morning's formalities are drawing to a close. In a moment, our teachers will guide their classes to their dedicated areas for lunch and other organised activities. At the same time, can I invite you to join the official party for a light luncheon provided by our Parents and Citizens Association, which will be served shortly in the primary school quadrangle on the other side of our hall and can be accessed through this passage. As a matter of public health and safety, could I please and politely remind everyone to maintain social distancing from the students and the staff and remain seated when eating and drinking. Also, please wear a mask if you are indoors. On behalf of everyone within our school community, thank you for taking the time to be with us here today, to witness this very special occasion and wonderful recognition of our new Police Commissioner. Ladies and gentlemen, would you all please stand as our official party makes their way from the ceremony.